Horror on the internet. Horror on the internet has always been around, it's always been popular, and it always will be around. Throughout my long time on the World Wide Web, I've seen many a different kind of horror rise and fall, like the tide, if you will. And as someone who was there on the front lines, I think I'm the perfect person to go through each genre of internet horror and rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. So that's what I'm gonna do.
She is such a bad bitch,
My favorite snack would have to be the cheese with crackers.
man.
All the way back in 2014, Scott Cawthon, indie developer who was known for making this, squeezed Freddy Fazbear out of his pussy, and boom, Mascot Horror was born. Five Nights at Freddy's made a whole lot of money, a whole lot, and every indie developer under the sun saw how much money the game made and decided, hey, that looks easy as hell. I can do that. They can't do that. And with that declaration, we were cursed with slop that has not gone away to this day. Great.
Huh?
And listen, I'm no negative Nancy. I admit that some mascot horror games are genuinely good.
Who's in?
No, not you, Seamus.
Ah, poo.
But I'll also say that the overabundance of games titled things like Goo Goo Shitland, Fibble's Funny Fuckle Dump, Moofy's Middle School, it's slop. I'm sorry, I hate to use the word, it's an overused word, but it's slop. It's terrible, it's not good. Littlezander, what the fuck are you doing, young blood? This video is called Ranking Internet Horror Genres, not whining and bitching about internet horror genres. You're right, I don't know what I was thinking, I'm sorry. Overall, in terms of how scary they used to be, Five Nights at Freddy's was a scary little thing when it first came out. But like I said, in these evil, rotten modern times, a lot of these mascot horror games are some boo-boo, and they aren't even remotely scary. Which, to be fair, I don't think they're trying to be. I mean, come on, look at this. And now you might be wondering, Littlezander, if these games aren't scary or good, then who's playing them? Or you might also think, oh, it's just kids that play these games. But I theorize there's a much bigger audience here that keeps these games afloat. But I won't say who. Any fucking way, I'm tired of talking about mascot horror games. I guess since half the games are good and the other half aren't, I'll give mascot horror 5 golden Markipliers out of 10. Now, what happens when you turn from 9 to 10 and you don't get scared by mascot horror anymore? You're too old for that. It's just not scary no more. What are you supposed to watch? What is supposed to give you a fright? How are you supposed to get your horror fix? You scratch your chin and you wonder, I don't really like mascot horror anymore. I sure wish there was the exact same series 400 times. I gotta rip the band-aid off. I don't like analog horror at all, quite frankly. And listen, I'll admit that Local 58 was pretty good. It was great. Awesome even. Maybe even cool, if you want to use that word. But how many times are we going to put a VHS filter over a video with the caretaker playing in the background, man? It's the same shit, man. Alright, now it's time for Littlezander's Guide to Making Analog Horror. Step 1. Take a normal looking picture of a face, but warp it around a little bit and make it look really scary, and then make it black and white. Step 2. Put a vaguely threatening message on screen with just static in the background. Step 3. Fuck toy
How am I supposed to eat this
Analog horror series
without my
unnecessary shock value.
And with that, congratulations. You just made the most money a 15-year-old has ever seen in their entire life. And now, you can finally go buy that 2006 Honda Accord from Facebook Marketplace you've had your eye on. Now, on a more positive note, I will say that a lot of these analog horror creators are pretty good at editing. I'll say that much. It's just that all these series, they just blend together way too much. And I don't hate all modern analog horror, you know? Midwest Angelica is pretty good for a little bit before it isn't, and then it turns really bad. But, you know, that's okay. And if you're really feeling crazy, you can mix analog horror and mascot horror, and you get those Five Nights at Freddy's VHS tapes, which I have to say I do really like. I do really like those. But it doesn't matter how much I like Five Nights at Freddy's VHS, because for every Squimpus McGrimpus, you get one. Also, I should mention, there's also an analog horror series called Angel Engine, which I haven't watched, but I do occasionally see teenage girls whining and bitching about it because it uses AI, you know, because AI bad. But overall, I'd say I've gotten more evil goosebumps from modern analog horror than I have modern mascot horror, so I guess I'll give analog horror 7.5 boiled ones out of 10. Now, out of every internet horror era, none of them have introduced a banquet of cool characters for you to fap your boner to quite like Creepypasta did. Let me say, Jeff the Killer, Smile Dog, Slender Man, The Rake, Herobrine, Sonic.exe, all these guys are goated. I'm just gonna say it straight up. Goated characters. I just can't help but feel nostalgic whenever I think about creepypastas because I used to eat those things up when I was younger. Like dinner. I used to lie in my Mario Kart bed paranoid that the Rake or Jeff the Killer would show up and chop my head off or something. Now, I feel like it has to be said that the average creepypasta is pretty bad. It's some garbage. That isn't to say there aren't good ones, but most of them aren't good at all. Like a little bit. Not even a little bit. Hey, but I still enjoyed them though. And I didn't listen to YouTubers read them either. I got those things straight from the source. I read them on creepypasta.com. As a matter of fact, here's a quick review of every old creepypasta I could actually remember reading. So, I don't know, slow down the video if you wanna read these. Wow, don't I have such good taste and valid opinions? But, as an adult and a fair judge, I can't let my nostalgia affect how I rate them. Now, I'm man enough to admit that even at my big age, there are still some creepypastas I find scary. It's true. The Rake? Come on now, The Rake has never stopped being scary at any point. At least not to me, right? I'm sure there's gonna be some big Tommy Tough Knuckles in the comment section talking about some littlezander really finds The Rake scary? What a big fucking pussy! And to that I say, hey, cut me some slack, brother. Alright? If the Rake appeared in your room, you'd probably do a big frown. Maybe even a big yell. So, let he who would not fill his diaper up with piss upon seeing the Rake cast the first stone. That's all I'm gonna say. But like I said, if I'm gonna fairly judge it, I can't let nostalgia play into it. And some stories being good does not invalidate the factoid that most of them are some ass. Let's be honest. So I'm gonna have to rate creepypastas 5.5 hyper-realistic bleeding eyeballs out of 10. Now this is the first genre that I'm talking about in this video that I'm 99% sure nobody actually likes. I don't even think I liked these things when I was younger. But whether they're good or not doesn't matter. I'm just here to rate these fucking rotten things. Alright, I was about to say that these videos dropped off the internet, but I looked into it and these stupid fucking things are still being uploaded semi-regularly, so I guess they never went extinct like I thought. Oops, party foul on my end. I guess the 3 AM videos fandom is still alive and kicking to this day. Color me impressed, you know, coulda surprised me. Now, 3 AM videos may have left a big mark on the internet, like a cattle prod or something. But truth be told, I legitimately have fuck all to say about them. There was that one guy who faked his girlfriend's death for a 3 AM video, but other than that, who the hell cares? Now the real question is whether they were scary or not. I give 3 AM videos 0 scary Mickey Mouse FaceTimes out of 10. Nobody likes these videos, except for maybe like Zygotes or something, I don't know. I gotta be honest, I barely even indulged in these things. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure why I added these. They didn't really impact internet horror in any way. You know, at least not like the last few genres did. But it's already in the script, so who even cares, man? Who cares? Now if you think about it, anti-piracy horror kind of blends together all the previous horror types mentioned. There's a little bit of mascot horror, a little bit of analog horror, some creepypasta elements, a pinch of 3 AM videos, and there you have it. The scariest thing a 12-year-old's ever seen. Now, I'm no psychologist, But I feel like the reason why this is so scary to so many folks is that anti-piracy screens waggle their finger in your face and say, "Nuh-uh, you're not supposed to be pirating our game." And people don't like being told they're doing something wrong, so it gives them a start, I guess. I don't know. Also, I have to ask, what is it with these kinds of videos and vaguely threatening scary messages? Analog horror has these too. All these anti-piracy horror videos follow the same structure. It'll be like Rayman hitting you with his iconic evil Aryan Chud stare, and at the bottom of the screen it'll say some shit like, "God knows what you did." And it's like, dude, I can promise you, God does not care that I pirated Rayman Arena for the PS2. You gotta get a grip. But you know, these were kinda cool, I guess. Not so scary though, so I guess I'd have to rate anti-piracy horror a solid 4 pissed off Sonic the Hedgehogs out of 10. The Backrooms image. Now, I'm not going to sit here and explain the origins of the Backrooms image, alright? It was on 4chan or whatever. Yeah, dude, we all know, right? We all know where it came from. We all sat down and watched scary horror YouTubers explain it a million times. Anyway, the Backrooms image kicked off the whole liminal space trend that really sunk its claws into the internet for a long time. And now you're probably screaming at your screen, "Littlezander, dude, what is a liminal space, you stupid chud?" You know, hey, what a great question. You know, let me answer that for you. The word liminal means, fucking in between or something. I don't know. So, a liminal space is an area that sits in between some stuff, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, sure. And by an area that sits between stuff, I really mean whatever the hell you want, because liminal spaces can just be anything, I guess.
This McDonald's is looking rather empty. Why is this low-key liminal as fuck? Whoa, this house is giving liminal vibes, my guy.
Liminal space, bikini bottom.
Now listen, I'm not saying that these places aren't liminal, but I'm also not saying that y'all aren't losing the plot just a little bit here. I mean, come on. Bikini Bottom? That's where SpongeBob lives. Now, I'd be a stupid goy cattle slave if I didn't mention the pool rooms at least once, you know? It's like the back rooms, but it's a pool. And it's way cooler than the back rooms because I can bring my floaties and play and have fucking fun, haha. When liminal spaces became popular, tons of game devs decided to start pumping out liminal space games. I will say, however, unlike most mascot horror games, I am unfortunately a rotten sucker for liminal space games. I know they're all just walking simulators, but I love me a game where I can wander around a big pool area, you know what I'm saying? I've actually not seen one liminal space game I haven't liked. That's not a joke. I've played a bunch of them. I've watched people play a bunch of them. All of them are enjoyable. Really well-made stuff. Hey, good job, guys. Really pushing the genre forward. But, of course, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows with liminal spaces either. Because sadly, liminal spaces have taken a nearly critical blow. Folks went and added monsters to them. Now let me make it real simple now. Liminal spaces are scary because you're alone in them. If you're the kind of person to stick your shit-covered finger up in the air and say, "What if the backwoods had Scary Mothman and Bigfoot?" then I think you need to sit down and zip your lips, man, because your ideas stink. Also, I feel it has to be mentioned that fat teenage girls who stink really love taking liminal space images and putting cornball-ass messages on them with some eyeballs edited on. It'll say some shit like, "When is the last time you saw yourself in the mirror?" Or sometimes it'll be real simple and say something like, "Uh-oh, time's up." Like, brother, are we being for real? Back in my day, we would have clubbed you people to death with metal baseball bats for stuff like this. Hey, overall though, I quite like liminal spaces as a horror concept. Even with the monsters, I can still appreciate the genre. So I give liminal spaces 8 almond waters out of 10. Now, this is the only horror type of this entire video, which has completely gone extinct as of 2025. And for good reason, too. I hated screamers. And I'm sure most people also hate screamers. I don't think there are many people who are big fans of screamers. You know, call me crazy. And listen, I understand, right? I get it. It's funny as hell to see a fat guy fill his cargo shorts with loamy shit just because the Exorcist girl appeared on his screen, right? It's hilarious. But it's not funny when it's me, right? Misfortune is only funny when it happens to other people. You know how many times I would fall for screamers as a young lad? I used to have to brace for impact on every horror video I watched because every dipshit back in like 2011 would put a screamer in every single video that had even slight horror in it. It's like, thanks man, this is exactly what I wanted. Also, when I say extinct, I mean they aren't as prevalent as they once were. I'm sure there are still screamers floating to and fro somewhere out there, you know, but I just don't see them as often, is all. Now, as horrendous as these videos were, they did give us the K-Fi car commercial, which is pretty cool and important, so I guess I can't give them too much grief, right? Come on. Now, honestly, there isn't too much for me to actually say about these things. I mean, you get a video, and then you show a scary image with a loud noise, right? It's not a crazy concept. I'm sure you get it. You know, not too much for me to talk about here. Not too much to unpack. I just felt like they had to be brought up, because they were very important. So as far as screamers go, I'm going to have to give them 2 K-Fi cans out of 10. It would be 1, but technically they are kind of scary, because they do make people jump, so I guess I have to give them 2. Sorry. Anyway, what have we learned about online horror? That it's ever-evolving and cool as fuck? Sure, I guess you could say that. I'm tired of recording this. Bye-bye now.
天上太阳红呀红彤彤哎。